got my back up, now I ain't the same. I don't really see the problem with change. Upgrade the mindset, let's level the plane. Yeah. I'ma go wild, but make it look tame. I'm moving with class and I teach every day. They didn't want to listen until I was paid. I take interest in the human conditions. I'm refusing the ended submission. I lead from my soul, yeah, that's the vision. I could not settle for minimum wage. I get the hustle, but struggle is played. God bless me with strength. Beating ups every day. I wanna put the wings on display. Energy shining like Johnny Dang. Enlighten the minds how I fight for the game. It's a simulation, beating the game. See through the matrix like Neo has came. All black outfit on my Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Hey, but when I roll up, I pull up on Nimbus. My team on with God, dismount Olympus. Treasures in heaven, said he's stacking these riches. Feel like Richie Rich, I'm handling business. You might get paid just for using my name. I'm Jamaican to paper, you sing. Take care of family, no time to complain. This real flex is the moves that you make. How much you give, how much did you take? You gotta do both when it's lovely the way. This is the state. All 10 I stay. I never play. I get my pay. We on the way. Soular here to stay. Yeah, I got my back up, now I ain't the same. I don't really see the problem with change. Upgrade the mindset, let's level the plane. Yeah. Hey, I'ma go wild and make it look tame. I'm moving with class and I teach every day. They didn't want to listen until I was paid. I take interest in the human conditions. I'm refusing the ended submission. I bleed for my soul, yeah, that's the vision. Hey, I could not settle for minimum wage. I get the hustle, but struggle is played. God bless me with strength. Beating out every day. Yeah. Hey, that one's crazy. I like that one. That one's called Johnny Dang. It's like a little mystery beat. You know, it's like... I thought it was really cool. I had a lot of fun with that one. What? Now that we had fun with that, right, let's get into this lesson so we don't have to be here all night. It's a beautiful vibe here, by the way, where I live here in Playa del Carmen. We got Ganesha on the door. We got Lakshmi in the studio. You know, we got Shiva in the background holding it down. You know, we got Sukuna, Itachi, and Sasuke all right there, you know, reminding us that our purpose ultimately is the only thing that we can move on. And if we get really good at moving in our purpose, we can really make a shift in the world. If we can get really, really good at being ourselves, and we can get really, really mastered in our emotions, in our astral bodies, when we dream, question, how many of y'all dream every night and know what your dream was about? How many remember the dreams? How many of you are lucid in the dreams? And if you are going to sleep every single night and you're living in this timeless, spaceless place where your thoughts are manifest, and you mean to tell me that you're not aware? Or you mean to tell me that you do not care whether you're aware? The Christ had once promised something known as eternal life. Eternal life. To always be aware, conscious, infinite, eternal life, infinite. And this is made possible by being one with the Father, or by being connected to the source. You can become an infinite being if you can connect to the source of all energy. which is also beyond space and time. Well, how do I do that from this state, this country, this room, this body? Well, the funny thing is, the body is completely designed for one to be able to connect to what is known as magnetic fields. And these magnetic fields vibrate, they are vibration, on a specific frequency. The effects or the feelings or the perceptions of these magnetic fields show up through all of our senses. And all five of our senses together, all five, create the sixth sense. The sixth sense, also known as extrasensory perception. This is one's ability to tap into the magnetic field around them and understand it for what it is. Even cooler, not only are we antennas, but we can be the effect to a cause, but we are also able to flip the switch and be the cause to the effect. And if one chooses to attain any form of self-mastery, they're going to find themselves with a stronger ability to manipulate the frequency of these magnetic fields in order to create the life that they want, consciously or subconsciously, to attract or repel, consciously or subconsciously. We're doing this through a magnetic field. The heart, you being alive, is a magnetic field, the beginning of what is known as your biofield in your heart, as it pumps this gas and this liquid. The blood carries a magnetic charge, but it's also the chemistry creating electricity. So you have electricity with magnetized cells. The third dimension of you are your cells. That's the third dimension of you. Your cells are in the third dimension. You're in the sixth. You are the bridge. When you get electric and magnetic, you get electromagnetic, which creates light as the radiation or byproduct of electromagnetism. But right before light, when you get electricity and magnetism, you get sound. Sound. So sound healing is very important. Controlling the frequency of your space is very important. And if one understands the codes of the universe, they can realize what certain frequencies are doing. And that's how I use astrology, to determine frequencies. Sound becomes light. Light with matter gives you this reality. White light and black matter. There's a topic I want to bring up. It's cleanliness is close to godliness. I know we've all heard it. Ooh, it's cliche. But it means something if you think about it. The sixth sense, the pineal gland, correlated to, is the bridge between the physical and the metaphysical, the electric and the magnetic, the sixth dimension. All five senses as one. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. This is when you enter into the astral body, and this world no longer exists. It's no longer relative. No space and time now when you're astral. This is when your mind becomes a dominant force. When your astral body is connected to the physical body, which is usually done through breath work, qigong, meditation, sound healing, sometimes induced from psychedelics, different forms of herbs and plants. However, it's all one and the same. One shifting their focus from the electric realm to the magnetic realm, which is unseen, but it's there. What you are seeing are resonant effects of a magnetic field. I'll give you an example. A crystal. I have plenty of crystals over there. A crystal is formed just by being in a certain frequency, certain pressure, and the electrons behave the same way in this frequency, so much so they crystallize. They concentrate. So crystals are concentrated frequencies. And if you carry a specific crystal, it usually has specific effects, and it's used for certain things because it is pertaining to a specific frequency, crystallized. And this frequency, crystallized, looks like this color, this shape, this smell, this size, this texture. As things come from the unseen or spaceless, timeless realms, spirit. We can make them manifest here on earth, as heaven as it is on earth. Frequency is what we can use to determine what it is in heaven and earth. The heart knows. The brain processes things, yes. The brain is the governing faculty of the astral body, whereas the heart is the governing of the mental body, whereas the stomach is the brain of the physical body. They all have neurons. Physical, metaphysical, which is physical and spiritual, solid, liquid, and gas. Your stomach, you digest food, and this has all your blood, and density goes down, whereas your heart is the bridge, the middle point of oxygen, carbon, gases, and a liquid, the blood flow, as the heart is a pump. And as it works with electricity and magnetism, it creates a field. Now this field, this biofield, it knows the energy for what it is. Whereas the brain will interpret the energy, impulses, senses, into the nervous system, into the hypothalamus, to where your perception now is your reality when you use the brain. when you use the heart, you're able to see things for what they are. You see, it's way more simple here. The astral body is like the internet. It's what you make of it. It's access to all things. But what are you using it for? Are you mindlessly scrolling and browsing? This is like a dream. Deferred. Or are you conscious of what you're doing when you go online and you leave with something? You came with a purpose, a mission, saw it through, achieved your goal. You had a cause, you had a purpose. Whereas there's no cause or no purpose, it's just free game. Some will say they prefer to live that way. There's nothing wrong with that. Chaos is another form of infinity. It's there. It's okay. However, if one chooses to be the cause rather than the effect and move with purpose, you're more likely to experience feelings such as bliss or euphoria, satisfaction, soul satisfaction. Whereas accomplishing meaningless tasks or empty relationships and connections not always satisfying the soul. Therefore, we sometimes get damaged from this chaos, and we feel the need to heal, detox, purge, release. And we try to bring ourselves back to a neutral space. Well, the most neutral space to live from is the heart. The heart knows. It's before anything has been processed, it's the field. Let your heart be light as a feather. We're not going to go into 7. We're not going to go into Mayat right now. We're going to stay on the number 6. In astrology, the 6th house, also Virgo, representing health. Noting that Virgo, the 6th house representing health, I want you to look at Virgo energy as the temple. And your body is the temple. Therefore, Virgo represents health. The earth is Virgo. The planet Earth, the sign of the planet Earth, is ruled in Virgo. The 6. The beautiful thing about 6, it being half of 12, 12 is a full circle, whereas 6 is a semicircle. And we all experience reality as a semicircle, or a dome, or maybe half of the coin. And we don't experience the other half of the coin simultaneously. Or do we? Or can we? And if we could, how would we do it? I thought you'd never ask. We're doing good. Okay. So, what you do is acknowledge that the physical or electrical is half of reality. It is very important, but there is another half of reality. That is the unseen, the spiritual side. Your body can vibrate on a certain frequency. And like a radio with an antenna, if you tune the radio to a specific frequency, it can receive different channels from the magnetic realm. So if your body is the electrical component, one would probably want to attune their frequency of their body to match what spirit they would like to have present in their life. Before you get all scary, I want you to consider this. If you are not conscious of what frequency your being is vibrating at, your heart, then before you get scared of being spiritual, consider that if you don't even care to control your own body's frequency, then you will be tuned into channels that you also cannot control. Whereas if you were to choose, at least to choose and to be aware of what you're tuning your device to, what frequency, knowing your purpose, you could align with maybe source. Maybe not one or two, but all. How does one vibrate at the frequency of all? Well, shout out to plenty of people who've already figured it out. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden. 0.1 heart coherence. This is the frequency. It's 0.1. Neutrality. You see, instead of picking a frequency, be available. Source. All things, all dimensions, connected to all of it. Not just low, not just high, but all of it. Is it possible to experience all of it at once? Yes. Is it possible to experience tiny pieces of frequencies and what those could give us? Yes. How about chaotic? Yes. But when you start to understand these things, you realize that there is chaos, but there's also control as its polarity. If you choose to move from control or self-mastery, and you will find that you will have to do specific things to vibrate at a frequency to connect to all, such as breathing properly from the core, such as letting go of the stress that is creating dissonance. You see, when you have stress, pain, and suffering, there is resistance to something, so you are holding on to a frequency. Love, or for your chakras to be open and a heart to be light as a feather, is to be neutral and to accept things for what they are rather than what you think they are. So it would be dangerous to choose a spirit to a degree, because the ultimate decision is to connect to source. When you do this, you gain a whole nother power. It's like the universe is making moves for you now. I'm only speaking from experience and data, and there's plenty of others. I'm not that special or rare. I just choose to talk about it. And there are some people who choose to listen to it. Luckily, we have things like these phones to where we can save them. And that leads me to the next part of this. Is Virgo is also to be of service. You see, There's something in your being known as telomeres in your cells. They are like the, let me get you a different shoe. All right, telomeres, right? Imagine that the shoelace is your chromosomes, and the telomere is the little plastic tip. It keeps it safe. Now, if I took this plastic tip off, this shoelace would start getting frayed and all messed up. Sooner or later, I wouldn't even be able to put it through the hole. I'd have to twist it and burn it, and you know how we used to have to do that? Well, that's what happens in your cells when the telomeres start to decay, and you're not producing any more what is known as telomerase to repair the telomeres. Now, when your telomeres start to dissipate and the chromosomes start to become frayed, what happens is they're not able to reproduce. They're not able to clone themselves anymore. Or they start making mistakes even. So, this leads to deterioration and death. How does one generate telomerase? Well, I found out of all the different ways that it can be done, from fish oils and omegas and non-stress, like stress is big. What the biggest thing it seemed to me was purpose. Ones to wake up and be like, oh, I don't got nothing to do. Oh, why am I here again? The telomeres are like, why are we here? We don't need telomerase. Let it die. And we start to decay. Whereas the opposite can also happen. You have a purpose. You know what you're doing. You know why you're here. You wake up. I can't wait to go to the park. I can't wait to go on that field trip. I can't wait to go to my job because I know I'm getting a paycheck today. That is enough purpose to create telomerase, to generate life, to keep going. Brings a whole nother value to lace up. Service. Virgo is also 6. You can't really be of service to anybody if you're not as service to yourself. So health becomes a critical component. If you look at your body as a temple, well then, however you treat that temple, okay, that is a limitation of what you can give to another, anything around you. If you can keep your temple clean, then I can trust you to keep energy clean around you as well. But if you can't even keep your own temple clean, and what this really means is doing things outside of your purpose. Health is, and I'm going to go into this because this is Virgo. Health, food, diets, strict schedules, details. Virgo, organization. This is what I believe. A healthy diet doesn't make sense to me. There's a diet, which is a plan, a meal plan, or a nutrition plan. Whereas healthy is relative. What could be healthy for one could be unhealthy for another. Well, if one person is lacking something and one person is OD in it, having that one item, you cannot say the item is healthy or not. It's relative. So a healthy diet is relative. A healthy lifestyle is relative. And when I think of a diet, I'm thinking of just energy, investment, and exchange. What are you consuming, or what is consuming you? Your time, your energy, your space, your life force. I'm telling you, if you are not conscious of where it is going, it is going. You'll end up right where you need to be. but you can move in grace, or you can move in pain and suffering. All roads lead to the source. Virgo is seen as heaven to earth. If you were to imagine something from the 12, which would be Pisces, or this imagination realm, right? How can you make something from the imagination realm real? Well, Virgo energy would get a pen and paper and make a blueprint, or type up and organize a to-do list to accomplish the task. And it'll look at all the critical details to make sure that it's even done right. So Virgo brings heaven into earth, quite literally. One of the best ways to make use of Virgo is to organize your life, write, organize your mind, and be conscious of what you're doing and how you spend your time and your energy. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but all of us can do whatever it is in a certain way. And if we choose collectively to move more towards the source, or all frequencies, some would call that love, we can be authentic, they can be authentic, and you'll get that freedom that you thought came from chaos. You see, you can be lost in infinity, or you can be in control in infinity. And some people will say, well, why be in control? Well, then don't. When I gave up my concept of control by choosing how I want to live this life, I started to receive messages and signs and symbols that guided me to do things that I knew I should have done. Now, whether I did them or not, those things have reigned as truths, whereas what I chose to do, whether you could say is divine or not, was out of alignment with what was ultimately best for me, showing that I didn't know myself as much as I thought I did. Limited. To be alive and to be open to all frequencies and understand all possibilities and infinity is to embrace God. Embrace your brother, your sister for who they are. Embrace yourself for who you are. Knowing that it's divine. Letting go of that control, yes. When you start to listen, you're going to get signs, messages, numbers. If you don't see those signs, then you'll get pains, aches, and tears. Those are also signs that something is out of alignment with your physical body, mental body, or spiritual body. And they want to be in alignment. So there's an ease, a flow of energy, rather than interference and struggles and strife. And people like to have this, but I tell you, your days are allowed to get better infinitely. I know you've heard of the pendulum. It goes up, it must come down. Well, infinity exists, and you are allowed to experience bliss forever. It's a choice. And you will have whatever you choose and whatever you believe. If you argue the fact that that is not a possibility, that is your reality. And that is your limitation. Because I would never tell you that nothing is possible. To ever say something can't happen immediately shows a lack of understanding of God. Lucifer thought he was smarter than God. Wanted to make his own decisions. Thought knew what was best for him. Thinking any of that is outside of what God's plan always was and always has been and always will be. Is it a plan? Or is God allowance, acceptance, authenticity, love? Whereas your antichrist or your Lucifers or your devils would be your limitations, your blockages. They can show up in many different forms. Relationships with things, people, places. Habits untamed. A mind untamed, a body untamed. Eating things that you just shouldn't. That are causing you pains, but you do it anyway. Drinking and drinking and drinking the alcohol, deteriorating your physical body, expecting to have a spiritual connection. Remember the temple. And imagine it's like a game. The healthier, the cleaner the temple, the nicer the temple, the neater the temple, the more perfect the temple, the more powerful the spirit. And think the nastier the temple, the more broken the temple, the more distorted and chaotic and messy the temple, the weaker the spirit. When I say stronger or weaker, I mean lesser or all. You're going to find it to be way more neutral, easier to be neutral in a clean environment. In a clean body, you will find it's way easier to connect to that source versus in a McDonald's body or a fast food body. Maybe a little bit harder. So much so to where who cares? So this is the lesson of health, cleanliness, organization, consciousness. If you can master being conscious here, when you dream or you go to the other side of 6, 12, the dream realm, you'll be able to take that purpose. And just like in the movie Inception, although you now are in a dream, you must first be aware that you are in a dream. And when you are in this dream, you have to remember that you are there with a purpose. And if those characters in these people's minds in this movie had lost their purpose in the dreams, what was it all for? They're going to have to try again and try again and try again. Ultimately, they had a goal. A goal to win. You determine what that win is. I implore you to connect to the source to get that determination. To figure out what your purpose is, what you should be doing. Connect to source. Be open to God, which would be all things, not some things. Listen, observe, watch, learn what you can do. The signs are there. You just need to be aware. Every single moment is as spiritual as possible. You just have to see it that way. Every moment is extremely special. You just have to see it that way. Use sound to heal your being. Color to also heal your being. You can use color. Aromatherapies, the senses, anything that you do with a cause. Learn, study. This is also a Virgo energy, to study. To be present, to be conscious. The 6th dimension is to build consciousness, whereas the 12th dimension is subconsciousness. If you were to be conscious here, go to sleep, wake up with the same purpose in the dream realm, you are in the same purpose. Do you ever go to sleep? Do you ever wake up? Most people don't know and don't care because they haven't experienced it. Lucid dreaming and astral projection, and those who have done it, they know. They know how real it is and what it is. And if you've had a nightmare, it's the same thing, especially if you remember the nightmare. You were lucid on a low frequency. But that's easier because your body is resonant with that. I don't remember the last time I had a nightmare. I'm very, very, very young. I've been very positive majority of my life. Very happy. I was too scared of evil things because I knew that they existed at a very young age. So I made a choice to not live in fear, lack, or loss. To live in abundance, in awe, in greatness, in this empty cup that is just always able to be filled, rather than full. Fool. Don't let that go over your head. So that's pretty much the lesson of Virgo for now. It goes way deeper than that, obviously, but I wanted to highlight its relativity and its practicality to, us, especially after this season where everybody just indulged, maybe in ways they probably shouldn't have. But everybody's doing it, right? Your spirit knows. And you know in your spirit. You're not deaf. You know that you hear it. Talk to God more. That's your power. Don't fear it. Well, that's it. I could keep going, but I feel like I should stop. I'm not trying to set a world record of the longest video or a stream, but I did want to cover as many points as I could to make this impactful. So I'll be saving this, obviously, like I said, and I'll be putting it on my YouTube later, but it's Virgo energy. 6th house, explained by a shaman, connecting it to the all, making it applicable to the soul. So my demographic is everyone and everything with a soul. I mean, think of a dog. Imagine if a dog or a cat just ate a bunch of things that were no good for it. It would eventually die. Now imagine you had that cat, that dog, and you fed them things that were very, very, very good for it. They'll probably live a strong and healthy life rather than a type of life. Strong and healthy life, full of vitality and ability. Virgo. Pisces doesn't care. You got to balance it. Learn how to bring heaven into earth. My name is Soular Moray, aka the Magic Muse, and I hope that inspired you to be greater in your day-to-days through the energies of 6 frequency realm, the bridge, the avatar, with the soul in it. Ashok.